Alright class, so today I'm going to be talking about what it means to be proud and what it means to be humble. So my vice is pride, and what that is it's a feeling of satisfaction or pleasure that someone gets from his own achievements. It's a high opinion of one's own importance. My virtue is humility, and what that is it's a modest opinion of one's own accomplishments. So it's thinking lower than you really are, putting yourselves under those around you. My situation at Xavier is a scene at a lunch table where I play a student who shows prides, and another student is talking about her grades and how she's really happy with how she's been getting B's and she feels like she's doing really well for herself. And then my character talks about how she could do better and how he gets straight A pluses, and he's pretty much just bragging to her. My situation in the real world involves a man who denies help for his family when his family is hungry and starving and they don't have any money to feed themselves, and their neighbors come with gifts and some money and groceries, and the man doesn't accept it because he feels like he's better than that. Overall, my video will show main ideas behind the vice of pride and how its opposite, the virtue humility, is the trait we should have in life. Being humble means putting yourself lower than others as opposed to being proud and thinking greatly of yourself. Being humble cancels out pride.
I think I did really good in all my classes. I think I'm going to pass with a good grade in all of them.
Really? What's your grade?
I got a B in my math class and a B in my chemistry class.
Just a B?
Yeah.
It's not, I guess. I got like all A's. Like this whole, I always get like all A's and stuff, all A pluses usually. I'll probably get into like a really good college. Can you even like get into colleges, like good colleges with all B's? Okay, now we need to analyze the stop sign method for this situation. First, let's study the facts. So we know that I'm at lunch with my sister and we're talking, and then she brings up her grades and how she's happy with them. I tell her how mine are better and kind of make her uncomfortable with the situation. Next, let's think about the alternatives that I could do. In this case, one should not acknowledge their own grades. That is how you stay humble. Unless someone asks you about your talents and gifts, I would say don't talk about them unless you're not bragging. In this situation, one alternative would be to just say great job and praise your friend for doing their best. Don't talk about your own grades and compare them to yours. Next, let's think about others' opinions. I talked to my parents and they both think that the correct way to act in this situation would be to not boast about your grades. It's okay to mention that you're doing good as well, but for the most part, if someone is wanting your attention and talking to you, then you should praise them and not compare yourself to them. Next, we need to pray. So in this case, one should pray to God and ask Him to give him the strength to realize that life isn't all about him. Praying to God can help someone put others first and humble themselves. We should pray that we can learn to be thankful for our gifts and not brag about them. Okay, for segment 4, we have to talk about the moral object, which is in this case, telling others about your high grades and putting them down. The intention is trying to make yourself seem better to others and lower other people's feelings. My values are that we shouldn't brag. I try hard to carry this out daily, but there is another key aspect of humility that is shown in Jesus' values that I don't show. This is the fact that humility also involves lowering oneself. So while we are listening and acknowledging other people's accomplishments, we also need to realize that we should lower ourselves and be thankful for what we have. We're here to serve others. An example of this is like when Jesus washed the feet of his apostles. He was their teacher and master, but he was also their servant. In this situation, we need to not talk about our good grades, and we need to just praise our friends for their good work. Being prideful can easily be turned into humility if we learn that life isn't all about us, and we'll be happier in the long run if we learn to praise our neighbors and avoid trying to put ourselves above them.
Dad, I'm hungry. We don't have any groceries.
I know. I wonder who that is.
Hi, Ryer. Some of the neighbors got together and we bought you some groceries. We thought they'd come in handy. We know you lost your job. We just thought we'd help out a little bit.
We don't really need any groceries.
Thank you anyways, but
You sure?
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. We don't need any groceries.
Okay.
We're fine.
Let us know if you need anything.
All right. All right, now we need to do the stop sign method for this situation. So, first off, let's study the facts. The facts are that I am the father of a poor family that is hungry, and when I am offered the handouts, I refuse angrily because I am above that. Next, let's think about the alternatives. There are many alternatives to this situation. The dad, first of all, should realize that he isn't better than handouts. If he is desperate, which he is, he should accept the gifts from his neighbors. Another alternative could be to search for more work or other methods of getting financial help and support his family. Others' opinions. I asked my friends, and most of them said that it is wrong to decline the gifts with a starving daughter. My parents said something similar. They mentioned that he should accept the groceries and money and thank the people immensely. Then he should go inside and pray to God and thank Him for answering his prayers. He should try hard to support his family, and when he gets on his feet, he needs to pay it forward and remember that he should do the same thing for others that are less fortunate. Next, we got to think about prayer. So in this case, one should pray to God and ask Him to humble themselves. We are not too good for gifts, and beggars can't be choosers, especially if it is necessary for the welfare of others to take the handouts, like our family. We should ask God to give us the strength to push through things like embarrassment, because putting ourselves lower is the correct way to deal with pride. Alright, for segment 7, the moral object in this situation is rejecting the neighbor's gifts and groceries in cash. The intention is that the man does not want to lower himself and look like he is weak to those around him. This intention isn't really bad, but he should realize that debasing oneself is necessary at times in order to show humility and do a good action. My values are similar to the man, and I have never been into this situation, so I wouldn't really know how to act, but I don't know if I'd quite act like Jesus. I think Jesus' values would be different. Jesus would accept the gifts and thank them because he would realize that he is not better than anyone's consideration. A really good reference of humility in the Bible is in Proverbs 15:33, which states, "Wisdom instruction is to the fear of the Lord, and humility comes before honor." This tells us that we shouldn't put our own embarrassment and pride before humility and before others. Instead of thinking we are too good, we need to realize that others come before us, and if people like our family members, for example, are in need, then we can allow ourselves to lose pride over them. The end.